Hello, everyone, and welcome to the OT, brought to you by the Sidebar Cantina podcast. I'm Mr. Jason Roskin. With me here each and every single week is Dave. Hello, Dave.
Hello, Jason.
And the OT begins now. So, there was a game yesterday. Super Bowl.
Yeah, little foosball game yesterday.
Yeah, Mama said foosball is the devil. But we watched it anyway. And it was interesting. Very interesting game.
All right. Well, interesting how?
So, I hate to say this. As I'm watching it, I'm sitting there thinking, like, these do not look like the two best teams in the National Football League. I'm sorry. Like, there was some good defense on the field. Offenses looked a little sus. And overall, I just felt like exactly what we were seeing, and it was two teams that had some very fortunate breaks and kind of lucked their way into the Super Bowl, and they weren't playing like fucking champs for a lot of this fucking game. Either team.
Okay. I mean, that's one way to look at it.
Yeah.
I disagree. Well, there's a couple things. I think there's too much time. I think there's too much time from when the AFC and NFC championship games are to the Super Bowl.
Right. It's that 1 week gap in between.
Yeah, there's that extra time. So either you change it to the Super Bowl should be on a Saturday, which it's only one day, but then it's also pushing some of the other things a little bit closer. Like, there's so much dead time in between that the teams, although they're rested, they're also rusty.
Yeah.
Like, there's something to be said for the momentum of those games.
Oh, yeah.
So what you're getting is a team that's going to take almost a full quarter probably to get back into fucking game speed.
Yeah, and that seems to be the case with a lot of these Super Bowls. Like, both teams kind of like feel like they're a little sluggish, and it takes a while to get into the rhythm, and we definitely saw that in this game.
But I still think that, look, the Super Bowl is what it is. I mean, those teams had to win those games to get to where they are.
Oh, of course.
Right?
I'm not saying they're bad teams, but they didn't look like the best teams.
And what we saw a Rams team that I think would have won by they would have won by a much larger margin had OBJ not gone down. I think Odell Beckham's injury and affected a lot of what the Rams are going to do on offense, right? It changed the dynamic of everything, and that's just how injuries are, right?
Yeah.
The difference is that they still had Cooper Kupp, who's a fucking MVP.
Yeah.
And the dude's a fucking stud.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
He
was all season.
Yeah.
Which is why Luna Girl won our fucking fantasy football league this year.
Yeah.
She rode Cooper Kupp just like the Rams did in this fucking Super Bowl all the way to victory.
Well, and let's not devalue Matthew Stafford here either, which personally I'm glad. Like, I picked the Rams to win, but the fucking Bengals covered, which annoys me because I lost money. But I did win. I won money on Bengals winning the coin toss. Which, did you know that the loser of the fucking coin toss has won the last 8 Super Bowls?
Which is interesting because the trend has been for many, many years now that the team that wins the coin toss always defers.
Right.
They always want the ball in the second half and that's not the way it was when I used to watch football. When I first started watching football in the late 80s and into the 90s, the team that won always took the ball first.
Yeah.
They always took the fucking ball first. But then all of a sudden there was this like paradigm shift where all of a sudden teams like, no, I want the ball first in the second half, not the first. We'll put our defenses on the field. And I think this was probably like one of the Buddy Ryan defenses in like the late 90s, probably like, hey, we're confident enough in our defense. We'll let you have the fucking ball first because we know you're not going to score.
Well, that's part of it, and I think too there wasn't nearly as many metrics as they have now, right?
Sure.
The percentages, like, there's so much different in the game now, right? Where they're kicking from for the kickoffs, like.
That is true,
having kick returns. Just the idea of a kick return now
it's so rare.
Is a question, right?
Yeah.
Because, all right, I'm just going to kick it through the back of the end zone. Now we're starting on a 25. It's almost a foregone conclusion. Yeah. Whereas if you're going to get a return, like, what are you actually going to do there? So there's so much more that goes into it, and they're applying so much more metrics to it now that I don't necessarily disagree with the idea of deferment because, I mean, it's been in a college game for so long. Mm-hmm. But I agree with you that back in the day, it was, I want the ball so that I can score. And now you're playing uphill, basically, because I have a lead. Now you have to chase me. Yeah. And that's the idea. You want to be ahead so the other team is chasing. But I really feel like in these days, teams play better from behind. Like, especially like a Matthew Stafford, he's notorious for fucking bringing teams back from behind.
Well, the Bengals were too. The Bengals were
this particular season. But this Bengals team in this particular game, I think was definitely outplayed. I don't think that I don't know if they were out schemed or if they were. It wasn't the best version of the Bengals team. Yeah, I think that we could see on the field. No, their defense, they stopped the run like fucking. The Rams never got it going on the ground.
Oh, yeah. Not until the very end, like when they got in like a 7 or an 8 yard run, and they're like, oh, finally they can fucking run the ball. But yeah, up to that point.
No, they were stopping the run. Yeah. They were forcing the ball into Matthew Stafford's hands. They were, with OBJ out of the game, like they forced a completely different dynamic. The problem was, it's Matthew Stafford. He finds a way, and he had Cooper Kupp.
And Cooper Kupp, yeah. Stafford and Kupp together.
Yeah.
Because that whole last drive was that was all you saw.
Yep.
Stafford to Kupp or the one handoff to Kupp on that 4th and 1, which was
huge.
Clutch.
Yeah, he puts his foot in the ground and gets that first down.
Yeah.
And a couple little dink and dunks to a tight end here and there. Some third string tight end. But yeah, it's Cooper Kupp, and he deserved to be the MVP.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And because I texted you, as soon as the game was over, I texted you, I'm like, there's no way Kupp does not get the fucking MVP of this game.
He deserved it. Yeah, he 100% deserved it. I mean, he fucking killed it this year.
Yeah, not to take anything away from Stafford, he played well. He had 2 picks. At least one of them was not his fault. The first one was, I think, was definitely his fault.
I think he underthrew that ball that got
the one in the end zone. Yeah. Like, but the other one, totally not his fault. It was like right off the dude's hands. Like the dude should have caught that, or at least not.
Well, it kind of like it came off his hand, like and kind of like whoop, and the defender was just happened to be come across the field and fell into his arms. Yeah, what the fuck are you gonna do, right? It still goes down as an interception, but they played through it. He didn't let it get him. You wanted to talk about the officiating though.
Yeah, well, so what was wild is like it seemed like the momentum was completely gonna like shift towards the Bengals. Like from that first fucking play in the second half, that long bomb from Burrow.
Dude, I was taking a piss. Taking a fucking piss. I completely missed it. I'm like, I got time. I'm gonna go and take a leak. All of a sudden, I'll hear, I like come out of the bathroom. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, and they're kicking the extra point. I'm like, what the fuck?
Wham, bam! What the fuck just happened?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no. So and on that
Reggie Ray.
On that play, there was a pretty questionable call because the receiver grabbed the defender by the face mask and pulled him forward. It happened so fast you don't really see it in the replays. It was fucking clear as day.
Right.
But yeah, it happened so fucking fast. I could tell something screwy was going on that play. Right. Because the defender fell down and the dude just fucking sprinted for the end zone. I'm like, what the fuck was that?
Right.
Then you see what.
And it was Ramsey too. It was the Rams' best defender, although they picked on him a lot.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
And unfortunately, if the Bengals had won and won by less than 7 points, that play would have been scrutinized.
Oh, sure.
Till the end of fucking time.
There's always going to be something. I think overall, like, Dragon Buddy is in the chat. He's talking about let them play attitude was not completely consistent. I disagree. I think there was a lot of no calls. There really was. There was hits that were obviously like there was a lot of stuff that was chippy that during the regular season I would have saw get called.
Oh yeah.
There was hits that were just outside there
were a couple times where that could have easily been a personal foul, hit out of bounds.
Very easily. I think the one, if you can call it a ticky-tack call, was, they had that pass interference that was in the red zone. That, on replay, it looked like it wasn't really pass interference. You saw the guy he had it turned a little bit, but
like you could see he had a handful of jersey.
Right. And then later on, you could see where the one did have a jersey grab, and they didn't call it. So, hey, look, I would rather. How many flags got thrown in that game? Like less than 10
Yeah, it
in the
wasn't a lot.
entirety of the fucking game, I would kill for that. I would kill for that in a fucking Super Bowl, because that means that the players are out there fucking playing. They're not like in between fucking referee calls. No challenges. Not a single challenge.
Oh, that's right.
There was no challenge flags, those questionable calls, not even challenges from the booth even.
Yeah.
Right? So you were playing the game as it was meant to be played, and really you had the two least penalized teams in the NFL on the field too, which probably played into some of that, I would
I'm sure.
imagine. Because they knew that these two teams play clean games, so they knew they probably were like, okay, we're going to keep our hands back for a lot of this.
Yeah.
Because of these two teams, we know they don't penalize frequently, so we're going to let them play to a point. And some of the shit was fucking obvious. The way football is, you can call holding on every fucking play.
Oh,
right.
yeah.
There's always some fucking pass interference. There's always a pick play. There's always something.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a matter of if you get caught.
Yeah.
Basically. So.
Yeah, and honestly, as for me, I didn't really have a stake in this game. Like I low key wanted the Rams to win because they were my grandfather's favorite team. But I mean, as the Bengals were driving in that last series, and it looked like they had the momentum and they were potentially going to go down and score and win, I was fine with that. Like I wasn't upset, and I wouldn't have been upset. So I didn't really have a stake in this game. And as far as the officiating goes, aside from that first fucking play in the second half, I didn't see an issue with any of the calls that were made.
Yeah,
I'm just like, I don't see what people are complaining about, honestly.
And again, maybe it's because of our indifference.
Could be.
That we didn't really have a stake in any of it.
Yeah. But, okay. Well, but see, that's the thing, too. When you are emotionally invested and, like, a super fan of a team, then you fucking see a penalty on every play, right? Oh, that was pass interference, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
Like, every single time a receiver doesn't catch a ball, they're like,
I was only financially invested in the Rams winning.
Right.
But the fucking Bengals had to go and cover, bitches.
so the halftime show.
Right.
I'm going to let you talk on this before I talk, because...
It was not that it was bad. I was just expecting more. Mm-hmm. I was expecting...
It was built up quite a bit going
Yeah,
into this.
I was just expecting to have my fucking, like, just get my fucking shit rocked. You know what I mean? Like, just like, holy fuck, this was the most amazing show. Like, these are the biggest fucking rap artists ever. You know, Sans, the only person that they would need on that fucking stage would be like Jay-Z or something to make it bigger. But I was really expecting like I was expecting more.
Yeah, and like, quite frankly, of all of this ensemble that was announced for this this halftime show, not a fan of really any of their music. I liked a few Eminem songs. Never a huge Dre fan, never a huge Snoop fan. 50 Big Mac, I'm not really a huge fan of any of his work. And Mary J. Blige.
Why he was upside down is beyond me.
Wait, what was that?
I have no idea.
That was so fucking weird.
I'm like looking at it and I'm like tilting my head. I'm like, said to my father-in-law, I was like, is he upside down? He's like, yeah.
It's like, what? Yeah, what was that all about? So I was never a huge fan of any of them going into this, and watching it, I was just bored, and I noticed like everybody but Dre, it looked like, was lip syncing.
Yeah, I do feel like there was some lip syncing issues. I agree.
Yeah, and I'm just like, this is doing nothing for me.
It was not the worst. I was expecting more.
It wasn't bad, but I mean, I'm just watching it, just going like, can we just get back to the game already?
Right. Speaking of the fucking Bengals kicker, did you see that he was out there for the fucking halftime show?
No.
Yeah, he was out on the fucking sidelines watching the fucking halftime show.
Well, of course, we don't need you. You just you kick the field goals.
Well,
and we tell you.
this kid, it's a great fucking story. This kid's fucking really funny.
Yeah.
The favorite commercial in our last minute.
The Barbie house commercial.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
I love that commercial.
Yeah, because that targets us. That was a commercial for our fucking generation.
Yep, with Castle Grayskull at the end.
Well, and because it started off just kind of like, oh, the Barbie's dream has been.
Right.
And I'm just like, why are we seeing a Barbie commercial in the Super Bowl? And then, you get the guy coming in, oh, I want to buy this house to flip it. And then the other person's like, oh, I want to buy this house to do this with it. I'm like, where is this going? And then it was a very clever commercial. And then, you add the Grayskull in at the end.
Right.
It's like, all right, that was good.
Yeah,
you got me.
Yeah, that was, and honestly, that was the only one. There wasn't another commercial. A lot of people were talking about the Sopranos one, the two.
I never watched Sopranos, so that
Yeah,
was...
well, it's funny because I heard the music and I was like, the fuck? I thought maybe it was for a Sopranos like kind of spin-off thing. Maybe they were doing a trailer or something like that. And yeah, that got a lot of attention. The Sopranos one.
And that is the end of regulation. The overtime is over. If I can pause and stop. All right. That's it.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, thanks, everyone. 15 minutes goes by fast.
Yeah, it does.
So
Thanks, Patreon supporters.
And thank you, Patreon supporters. And we'll see you all next week when we talk about the special editions.
Yep.
Goodbye.
Bye.